in order to open yourself up to that sort of criticism, you have to be supported in all sorts of ways, and even so when I'm functioning as a scientist, I am trying to disprove my presuppositions. I'll test them. It's like something manifests itself in an experiment. Then I design 3 or 4 experiments to see if I can make that effect go away. And I do that because I don't want to propagate nonsense and I don't want to pursue nonsense in my own career. But in order to tolerate that, think about how we set up the system is you have to be a tenured professor to do science or have the equivalent position in a research lab. But your economic situation is stabilized. Your social status is stabilized. Like you're protected on 50 fronts. And then you can open the door and say, okay, let's have some novelty come my way. And that's assuming that you're at a point where you can tolerate any novelty at all. And more curious, more open, more emotionally stable, more intelligent people are more compelled by novelty and can handle it better, but still our ability to handle it is pretty low, and we will find environments that mostly reflect back to us what we want, most comforting.
Well, actually, this is fascinating. I wonder if there's not effectively a budget for discordant interactions. And, if we go back to what we were speaking about it at the beginning of the conversation, the fact that not only do Heather and I have a great relationship, but we also speak the same language scientifically. So, it's a kind of across the board sounding board and ability to, I feel no vulnerability there because there's no place where our worldviews aren't compatible. And, I could say similar things about Eric. So what that means is that my budget for discordant interaction is probably larger when I get to the outside world, because I haven't spent it at home or in the context of family or friends.
And you spend it. It is definitely a budgetary phenomenon. You produce a unit of psychophysiological preparation for every unit of uncertainty. And the size of that unit of expenditure varies with your trait neuroticism, because that's like evolution's guess at how dangerous the environment would be. It varies with your position in the social hierarchy, because if you're at the top where you're protected, the consequence of an error is attenuated compared to what it would be at the bottom. And that's why social position modulates serotonergic output. So the higher you are in the hierarchy, the more serotonin dampens your negative emotion to uncertain events. And that's in keeping with your actual fragility. Neuroticism determines it. Social hierarchy determines it. Intelligence determines it to some degree because you're a more effective problem solver if you have a high IQ. But you do pay for uncertainty because if something's uncertain, you don't know what to do. And so you have to prepare to do everything. And that's unbelievably costly psychophysiologically. It ramps your cortisol production up and it starts to eat away from future reserves. It's definitely a budgetary process.